A conservation group says confirmation that birds dumped on the steps of Parliament did not die of 1080 poison shows the campaign of misinformation by some protesters has crossed a significant line. In September, 6 birds, including Kererū and Weka, were laid out on Parliament steps in what protesters described as an act of theatre. At the time, one of the protest organisers claimed that some of the birds had been collected in a 1080 drop zone. But Kevin Hague, the CEO of Forest and Bird, says one of the birds was actually shot, and the question is, who did it?
Well, so we've now got information via the Official Information Act that shows that a couple of the birds had been hit by vehicles, a couple were likely to have flown into windows, one was too decomposed to tell. And the 6th bird, an adult male weka, had been shot, most likely with a .22 rifle, which is just disgusting. These birds are protected under the Wildlife Act. It's an offence. And so it seems that this anti-1080 group, of course, have spent the year in a campaign of largely of misinformation around what 1080 does and doesn't do.
But none of these. So basically, in a nutshell, none of these deaths are linked to 1080, as far as we can tell.
None at all. And what makes it worse is that that someone has shot a weka, a protected bird, and that has been used as one of the props in this campaign of misinformation.
Yeah, so if none of these were killed by 1080, they were used in a protest about 1080. So what's the motivation here? Is this a campaign of misinformation or what?
Yeah, this is a campaign of misinformation, and it's honestly par for the course with these groups. You know, the normal standards of science and fact-checking that we'd apply in any sort of debate, simply are not used by these groups.
Is this really kind of behaviour escalating?
I think this year we have seen more activity by these groups with their hikoi to Parliament. I think though that one of the things that's happening is that New Zealanders generally are starting to see through some of the kind of evidence-free claims that they make, and I'm hoping that that the fact that they've been prepared to use an illegally shot weka as a prop will further cause New Zealanders to lose their trust in anything these groups might say.
The thing is, as you would fully appreciate, they have a right to protest, they have a right to make their voices heard. We're a democratic society. Where's the line, though, as far as you're concerned with this?
Yeah, well, the line was passed a long time ago. Most people are not in a position to themselves read or understand the scientific papers that have been published around 1080. So they're susceptible to claims that are being made, and I think that creates a duty for everyone involved to act with a degree of decorum and sort of ethical standards. And
what do you mean, Kevin? Are you concerned that this behaviour or misleading claims will ratchet up threats against people involved in 1080 drops and conservation workers and things like that?
That has certainly been occurring. There's been an increase in the threats to people involved in promoting the use of 1080 or actively involved in the drops in some way. And we need this agent more than ever, in fact. So that's thoroughly reprehensible. And what we're seeing with both of those threats, that criminal behaviour and the criminal behaviour of shooting a native bird to further some political stunt, just really underlines that the sort of ethical boundaries don't touch the sides when it comes to these groups. We are calling on them to actually now report to the police exactly how they came to be in the possession of this illegally shot bird.
That's the thing. We can't know at this point who is responsible for killing that bird. But even having native birds in your possession is against the law, isn't it?
It is. It is. You know, there's unquestionably been matters that will concern the police that have occurred here, and clearly members of these groups, whether or not they were involved in actively shooting the bird, clearly have information that the police needs to know, and we're calling on them to actually do the decent thing.
Checkpoint made repeated attempts to contact Alan Gurdon, one of the anti-1080 protest organisers. He's not returned our calls, so if you're listening, Alan, we would love to talk to you.